Let me ask you something honest. You've been saving, maybe for a year, maybe for 3. You've skipped vacations, said no to stuff your friends are buying, and you're still staring at a number that feels embarrassing for how hard you've been working. And somewhere in the back of your head, a little voice keeps asking, is this even worth it? I need you to stay with me for the next 5 minutes, because that voice, it's lying to you, and I can prove it with math. The psychological struggle. Here's the thing nobody tells you about building wealth from zero. The first few years are designed to feel pointless. Not because you're doing it wrong, but because of how compound interest actually works. In the beginning, you are the engine. Every single dollar in your account got there because you put it there. The math is almost cruel. When you've got $5,000 invested at a 7% return, that's $350 working for you in a year. That barely covers a car payment. So you watch your friends lease new cars, you see people on social media posting their trips to Italy while you're brown bagging lunch, and the lie that starts creeping in is, I'm sacrificing everything and gaining nothing. I've been there. A lot of us have. And this is exactly where most people quietly quit. Not dramatically, not all at once, but slowly. They stop contributing. They rationalize a lifestyle upgrade. They tell themselves they'll restart next year. And just like that, the most important financial window of their life starts closing. But here's what's actually happening beneath the surface, and this is the part that changes everything.
The Charlie Munger rule. Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's partner and one of the greatest investors of the 20th century, said something that stuck with me. The first $100,000 is a bitch, but you gotta do it. He didn't sugarcoat it. He didn't give you a 10-step plan. He just said, it's brutal, and you still gotta do it. Because once you cross that threshold, everything changes. The math behind why it gets easier. Let's make this real with actual numbers, because this is the part that blew my mind. Imagine you're saving $10,000 a year, which, yeah, is hard, at a 7% annual return. That's a fair long-term stock market assumption. To hit your first 100K, it takes roughly 7.8 years. That's a long time. That's almost a decade of discipline for one comma in your account. Now watch what happens next. Your second 100K? 5.1 years. Same contributions, same interest rate. Third 100K? 4.3 years. And here's the number that should genuinely stop you mid-scroll. To go from $600,000 to $1 million, that's a $400,000 jump. It takes the same 6 years it took you to save your very first 100K. Same time, 4 times the gain. Why? Because at $200,000, a 7% return alone is generating $14,000 in a single year without you lifting a finger. That's more than most people can save in a month. At $500,000, that same return generates $35,000 a year. Your money has started working a second job, and it doesn't need health insurance. In the early years, you're doing 90% of the work, but slowly, quietly, the ratio starts to flip. And one day, you wake up and your investments grew more last year than you even earned. That's the flip. And you can't get there without crossing the first 100K. So here's what I want to leave you with. You don't need the perfect budget. You don't need to time the market. You don't need to pick the hottest stock or find the secret investing hack that everyone on Twitter is selling. You need patience more than you need perfection. The game in the early years isn't about getting rich. It's about staying in the game. It's about making one more contribution when it feels pointless. It's about not blowing up your progress because you feel like you deserve a reset. Every dollar you put in right now is worth more than any dollar you'll put in 5 years from now, because it has more time to compound. You're not behind. You're in the hardest part of the only race that actually matters. So if you're somewhere between $0 and $100,000 right now, keep going. Not because it's easy, Not because it's fast, but because on the other side of this grind is a version of your financial life that almost feels like cheating. Munger was right. It's hard, but you gotta do it. If this hit different, drop a comment. Tell me where you are on the journey. I read every single one. And if you know someone who's about to quit on their savings goals, send this to them. Because sometimes all it takes is understanding why it's hard to finally decide to keep going. See you in the next one.